the books. But in order to start dismantling that pieces at a time, when Prop 47 was passed, the only way to dismantle that really is it has to go to the voters to take some things back or to change some things. So what this initiative will do is basically bring back laws that we had for years, and lost in the last 10, 12 years with Prop 47. One of them being 666 of the Penal Code. I might have talked about this before. It has nothing to do with the devil, 666. But what it said was, if you're convicted for 3 misdemeanor thefts, the 4th one should be a felony. You are a serial thief, right? It's not just the kid that stole a couple packs of gum at the grocery store. We're talking about serial thieves. So this initiative would bring that back to us. And then when Prop 47 also changed the narcotics laws, substance abuse, you talk about the narcotics, everybody's heard about fentanyl, everybody's heard about methamphetamine, heroin, all the stuff that's out there, and just as much, if not more, than it has been in the past. Those were changed from possession being a felony to now being a misdemeanor. These are Schedule 1 drugs, these, like I said, the ones I just said. So this act would also, after 3 convictions, because they're all misdemeanors now, for let's say you had 2 fentanyl and 1 heroin, the 4th one would be a felony and require mandatory rehabilitation or incarceration. Right now there's no consequences either way. So you look at what we're dealing with narcotics and then theft, you look at the $950 threshold where everybody's heard people actually steal stuff in Home Depot with a calculator so they know they don't go over $950, to where if they get arrested, they get a citation. Now, you can do that 100 times in a row. And on the 101st time when we catch you, you're going to get another ticket. And that's just unacceptable. So this is what this initiative will bring that back. Other legislators in the state have written other bills to try to combat some of this. Now, I think it's up to 16 different bills that were written throughout both sides, Senate and the Assembly. We've been following these bills, and for the last 2 months, I might have told you last year, I was up there every other week trying to stop horrific legislation going through, like getting rid of our police canines, and get rid of the ability for us to ask to search somebody, or get rid of the ability for us to pull people over for low-level violations. We haven't had to deal with that much this year. But the other bills that are supposedly trying to help, we found out have been watered down after so long and gone through committee to where they don't have the teeth. So the only thing we've been really talking about is the DA's initiative and kind of pushing that. Well, I get a call from our DA yesterday or Monday, a little bit of a panic, that hey, just to let you know, the Democratic side of the House is trying to put together what they call poison pills, inoperability amendments to a lot of these laws. So there's 16 bills, which I said, this is my humble opinion, don't do a lot. They don't have a lot of teeth to them. But what they've said is, if we add this poison pill amendment to these 16 bills, and I don't know for sure it's 16 or it's 12, it's a bunch of them, that if you vote for these bills, you cannot put, if you vote for the initiative, the DA's initiative, which we're talking about, all of these bills will go away. So half of me thinks, okay, we don't care because this is the best thing for us, is the initiative. But it will confuse the voters. And that's kind of what the thought is. And like I said, I can't get too political. I'm just going to try to educate you on this, to where the way it is written, we're afraid that if he says, hey, well, if people are just going to read it at face value and say, well, if we vote for the initiative, we're going to lose all these great bills that are here. So we better not vote for the initiative. And that's not the case.
Question.
Yes.
So after the initiative fails, all the bills get... After the initiative fails, my guess is all those bills will get pulled, correct?
Well, it depends on what was amended. It's too early to tell. Possibly. It sounds like a lawyer answer. Possibly. But they are going to get amended. Because some of those bills we did support. Cal Chief supported it. Cal Sheriff supported it. PORAC supported it. Yes, they're pretty good bills. We would support those. Those would help us a little bit. But not even close to what the initiative would be. So for them to say that concerns us, that we want to do a unified front between the law enforcement agencies, like I said, California chiefs, sheriffs, and PORAC. So say, yes, of course we still support the initiative, but we're adamantly opposed to any amendments to these bills with the poison bill. And that's pretty much where we're at. Like I said, I can't go too far into that other than saying, as the president of the Riverside, RCOPS, Riverside County Police Chiefs, or chiefs and sheriffs, so I represent all the Riverside County chiefs, that we would say we strongly oppose any amendment to those bills, to put that poison bill. But we don't know exactly what is what yet. And that's what's been going on all day Monday, all day today, and there's some major meetings with a lot of the groups to try to hammer it out tomorrow. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that, just because it's been on the news. Everything I've told you has been on the news the last 2 days. Yes.
Are you having, I don't know, a judge or somebody write the synopsis of
The Attorney General does that.
Oh, okay, it's AG, and it's...
What we don't want is the way the voters were,
It looks deceitful.
yeah, well, Prop 47, the Safe Schools Act, right? Nothing, it wasn't close to that. So that's what our concern is it going to come out? What is the language going to be for this initiative if this goes through with the amendments? So yes, that's what will happen. So we're just trying to make sure our community groups are aware. I know the sheriffs and Sheriff's Association and Cal Chiefs, we're going to put something out tomorrow's Thursday, right by tomorrow. And I'm guessing at this point it's going to be to strongly oppose the amendments. So more we'll keep you updated. If you watch the news tonight, there'll be something on it. There's probably something happened just since I've been here tonight. So you know how it works up there. That's kind of where we're at from there. I talked to you guys, yes sir.
That statement that you just made, being strongly opposed, I agree with you, but that, does it not add more confusion to the situation? Because now that will say, hey, don't vote for the initiative. The initiative is, in fact, the stronger of them all.
And that will be in the language as well. You're right. But we strongly oppose the amendments, and here's why, kind of like I explained to you.
Correct.
But we strongly support the DA's initiative. So it would be all-encompassing when we put that messaging out. But yes, the whole thing is confusing.
Right, because the idea that's being put out now is to save Prop 47. And if you don't save Prop 47, we're going to kill all these amendments.
With the initiative.
Right.
Correct.
My personal opinion, vote for the initiative. To heck with the amendments.
There you go. You're right. That's that kind of what we're just trying to educate people on. Yeah, exactly. And I'll give you some. I'll give Lewis and Brian some sample letters just so you guys have them. That's why I love this group. I think you guys even have training on how to put stuff in the portal. That's cool. You know, that's great. Because I can't stand here and say you need to vote this way and vote that way, but I'm definitely going to educate you on what's going on. Last week, and I'll handle more questions, so let's get through some of the topics that I'm going to talk about. Last week, I was in Washington, D.C., talking to our federal legislative House of Representatives about the Fusion Center. I think I might have talked about a Fusion Center with you guys before. A Fusion Center is an intelligence center that we want to cover both Riverside and San Bernardino counties. Right now, we still use the JRIC, which is the Joint Regional Intelligence Center out of Los Angeles. They do a fine job. They're okay, but it's Los Angeles. And the information we're getting from the JRIC, we found out is just not timely enough for us out here. We're underrepresented. We have way too many people. And the way we started talking about this, I used the beginning platform, foundation was the Christopher Dorner incident. You guys remember 11 years ago now, killed one of our officers, shot an LAPD officer, killed a San Bernardino County Sheriff's officer up in the mountains. But if you remember, when he left Riverside that night, he was on the loose for 7 days. And everybody probably remembers that time. There was so much misinformation going out, not just to the community, but to law enforcement officers. I mean, 2 ladies in Torrance got shot because they were misidentified. They were delivering papers. So we kind of talked about that, saying, hey, we need valid, real-time information from out here. And like I said, the JRIC, nothing, it wasn't a message of war, so we're out here, we're just saying, hey, we're underrepresented. Orange County did it about 5 years ago. They have their own fusion center. It's time for us to do it out here. Every one of our state legislators have supported us and even written letters of support. Everybody that would affect between the two counties. And so we just thought we would take it to the federal level. And I met with 10 different legislators in a day and a half last week talking about it, and they all seem very supportive. The reason we want to go to the federal legislators, it's funded by a federal funding source, UASI, which is the Urban Area Security Initiative. And that's federal money under federal DOJ that we get, and we need that money to come through. So the ask was, hey, can you make sure that money's going to continue to come through in earmark, because we've worked on this for the last year and a half. We'd like to stand it up this year. And secondly, could we get a letter of support to our governor? Because there's two ways we can go about having our own fusion center. We can have what's called a node, which we're still tethered to the JRIC in LA, which we don't want that. We want our own freestanding fusion center, and that would require a sign off by the governor. So we want to make sure we've built up a bunch of goodwill with our legislators and the support. One thing that we've done that no other fusion center has done in the country is we've embraced our tribal community. So we got 18 different tribes in the two counties, and we've evolved. They've evolved quite a bit. If you look at how big San Manuel and Morongo, and they have their own public safety divisions, they're going to be at the table at this fusion center. So it's nice for us to say we're using all of our partners here, and it's not just law enforcement. And I should explain, it's an intelligence center, so when a major incident happens, everybody comes into the center and starts to disseminate real-time information, because when bad guys don't stay within their own jurisdictions, right? But we need to get that information out in a timely manner. But it also could be for natural disasters. Remember last year, up in the mountains, people were snowed in for 12 days. That would be activated. For some, how do you get resources? Can we get resources up there? So there's a variety of different reasons we need a fusion center. It looks like it's trending that way. It looks like the House of Representatives voted or gave their budget vote yesterday for their proposal, and the money's there. So maybe they listen to us. It still has to go to the Senate now, but it's looking positive for a fusion center, which would help us tremendously here in the Inland Empire. As far as staffing, so it's staffed on an everyday basis with analysts, right? So it would be start off with 6 analyst positions, and then when that incident happens, then it's our local partners, our federal partners, our private partners would all have a seat at the table to be there to disseminate information and get that information out in a timely manner. So, like I said, another thing we talked about was there's been one terrorist attack, knock on wood, in California in recent history. And where was it? San Marino, right here. So it's like we didn't have to sell it that much on why we need it, but we just reiterated the facts that, hey, we need this. So it's looking good for that, and hopefully we'll get that by this year. One thing, bringing it more local here to your favorite police department here in Riverside, we're also looking at a real-time crime center. So if you guys know what that is, we have about 1,800 cameras in the city of Riverside. And I know I did talk to you guys about this last year, because the year before that, we had a string of home invasion robberies in some of your neighborhoods that you live in. And it was frustrating at the time because we didn't have any license plate readers in the city. We didn't have enough cameras in the city, because some of the neighborhoods they hit, there was only one way in and one way out of those neighborhoods. If we would have had this technology up, we would have got somebody in custody that night instead of a 7-month investigation, which resulted in over 21 arrests of South American crews and crews who were working all over the area. So we've started with the infrastructure, with the cameras, 1,800 cameras in the city. So what a real-time crime center does is it gets us that real-time information when a crime occurs to our dispatch center and then to our officers who are on the street. Quick example, the sheriff and I went to Las Vegas to look at theirs. Now Las Vegas is a whole different world. But we went to the real-time crime center, and they said this happened yesterday. And they show a video, and it's a robbery of a 7-Eleven. So we're hearing the 911 caller saying, hey, there's a robbery at the 7-Eleven. It's a black male wearing a red shirt and blue jeans, and he's holding a gun to the clerk's head. So this is on 911. So what the dispatch real-time crime center does is they go up on the cameras. They had cameras in that area. They have cameras everywhere in Vegas. So they're able to get up on the screen and watch this in progress. By the time the cameras go on, now they said they will get on the air and direct the officers, say, oh, we got him on camera. It's actually a black male subject, but he's not wearing a shirt. He's wearing blue jeans, and he's got a gun to a guy's head in the parking lot. So he's giving that information to the real-time crime center, the responding officers, which makes it safer for us. He ends up throwing the victim down and shooting at people in the parking lot. And that's a couple years ago, we'll be able to identify somebody right away, and that information gets disseminated to all of our officers. And if they start heading down Alessandra and Moreno Valley, the sheriff's department are on board too, because they've already got the same camera system. So we're looking forward to that.
Follow up on that, Chief, we were thinking if there was a way to put cameras halfway up on the light poles in the neighborhoods where the people that live within so many feet can tap into it and see what's going on the street in their neighborhood with something going on, and when the police need it, come within, they can see what's going on too.
And yes, one of the things that we're doing when we get the software company is there's an opt-in option. So a lot you guys live in an HOA, some might have them already. But the opting in would be yes, because you don't have to, if you're a private homeowner, you have a Ring camera, you don't have to give us your footage. 99% of the time, people are cooperating with us. They will give us, especially if they got burglarized or their car stolen. But number one option is to opt in and share your video information with the police. Number two option is to opt in, share your information with the police, and allow the police to share that with everybody. So there's two ways to opt in. So that'll be something that it's done actually by the software companies. They do the community outreach. They come out here and explain how it works and try to get people to opt in. But I'm confident about it. I think it's something that we will see in our very near future. One of the things we're going to talk about is warehouses tonight. I'm not going to talk about warehouses tonight, but I realize traffic concerns in this city. One of the things, as our staffing gets up, I told you we're doing very well in staffing, is to augment our traffic division. Just to give you an idea, and you guys know, you see it, you drive the same streets I do, I live in the city. It's like when COVID happened, everybody drove crazy, right? Because we weren't pulling anybody over, limited contact, and it's like everybody came back to work and they still are driving crazy. Nobody stopped doing what they're doing. So we're trying to catch up with that with traffic enforcement. I'll give you an idea, when me and Deputy Chief Blumwell started 31 years ago, we had 25 motor officers in our city. Right now, you know how many we have? 10. And we have about 100,000 more people in our city. So we're hurting the traffic division. That's one thing we're going to start supplementing right away. I've said this in several community groups. As our staffing numbers gets up, we're going to buy more motors and get more people to do traffic enforcement. In the interim, got a call from the commissioner from CHP. They're on an effort with the Big City Mayors Group. If you had our mayor talk, I don't know if you had, but the Big City Mayors Group is the top 14 cities in the state of California, which we are number 12. They're asked, they want to support all of the big cities with traffic enforcement. So we're like, well, absolutely, because they already do some enforcement in our city. So we can get anywhere from 10 to 20 CHP officers at any given time to work areas that we ask them to work. Van Buren comes to mind right off the top of my head. So our primary focus is going to be commercial enforcement. We have one commercial enforcement guy that does it collaterally. If we can get them to help us with that, we will. And then just regular traffic violations. That's something that started this week. Like I said, we're all about getting the assistance. I don't know how long it'll last, but it was a nice gesture. They're doing it for all the top 14 cities in the state of California. So don't get too mad if you see chippies down your road, down your streets. They will be working the city a little bit, but mostly commercial enforcement. And you can see it going on probably Alessandro, Van Buren, and things like that. Two last things. We're training our mobile field force every month. Mobile field force is our, for lack of better terms, riot squad for large-scale protests. Everybody, I think, knows why. We're in an election year. Everybody in Riverside County seems to come to the county seat when they want to protest. Like I saw some on the way on the freeway overpass on the way here. But we need to be ramped up and ready to go with our personnel to where we can deploy teams to work protests as we get closer to the election. And just be ready for anything that might happen. They always seem to want to come to Riverside. And then lastly, fireworks are illegal, right? 4th of July is... So there's 3 days of the year at the Riverside Police Department that nobody can take the day off on. New Year's Eve, Festival Lights, and 4th of July. So we have 2 major fireworks shows, one at La Sierra Park, one at Mount Rubidoux, where we have the whole department almost working. But we do have people in place. We also have a task force that works for about a week, a couple days before the 4th, a couple days afterward, actively trying to find people that are lighting off fireworks. Like I said, they're all illegal. We're not out there trying to get a little kid in the front yard with a sparkler. We're looking for, there's plenty of commercial grade fireworks that are out there. I know you guys know that. But we are out there doing the best we possibly can. But, I'll ask you to have a heart with us. It's like if somebody ran a stop sign at Tyler and Gould right now, why didn't he get a ticket? We can't be everywhere in the city, but we are definitely going to do the enforcement effort and put out plenty of public service announcements in the next couple of weeks to please limit the amount of fireworks. We've gotten a little bit better the last couple of years. We were talking about it at our command staff meeting yesterday. It's like COVID was ridiculous. I think people were just locked in their houses so long. It was the worst year for fireworks. Everybody just wanted to get outside and blow up things. So we've gotten a little bit better over the last couple of years. We've also increased our enforcement efforts. What we work with our department, of course, the fire department's there, and they have just as many personnel out there, and then code enforcement officers will be with us as well. So I've been rambling for about 20 minutes straight, I think, and be happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir.
I got one. So, I live up the hill, so I intersect Canyon Crest, Alessandro, Central, complex. And the big issue is absolute lack of any traffic control. You mentioned that you're having problems, you're having staffing issues, I get that. You could sit at any stoplight along Alessandro and get 5 people at every light change. You can get them speeding, and there hasn't been a police officer in sight for months, maybe a year. And my question is, I understand your staffing issue, you're trying to gear up, I get that, but your staffing issue has occurred since COVID. I mean, you were having people patrol before then you stopped, and now you never picked it up again. And it's actually, I ride a bicycle, so I'm sensitive to people running red lights.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything happening anywhere in the city suggesting to me that you're doing any sort of patrol at all.
Traffic enforcement, yeah.
Right.
No, I understand what you're saying, and that's one of the reasons that I do bring, and we hear that in every neighborhood in the city. But I do bring the area commander here
Explain why there's no one patrolling.
well, we need to know, like I said, we can't,
Lately, I've seen them on Alexander lately.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
and I understand you haven't seen it, but I don't.
You see one on Mission Road every morning.
I see two when I walk.
I'm sorry, my experience, which is just like everybody else's room on that every day, is I haven't seen a police officer in literally months patrolling anywhere. They used to sit right down here at the base of this hill all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody's out there.
Well, motors are our primary traffic enforcement. What we normally do is, and I'll finish with the area commander thing, is we have to go on worksheets. So every meeting will say, hey, can you work this area? Can you work that area? And that's how we normally do, is deploy officers as we hear the problems. So they don't just drive around randomly. They usually get a worksheet every morning on where they're going to work in the city.
Can I ask one other question? I'm sorry. Could you know from a budget standpoint what traffic fines were as a portion of your budget, say pre-COVID, to what they are today?
Almost nothing. They've never been a big part of our budget.
That's not the answer to my question. You know, so what were you collecting as traffic fines pre-COVID? There was significantly more patrol pre-COVID than there has been post-COVID. And so my question is just from a budget standpoint, you say there's no difference in
It's about, last I checked, about $16 a ticket that would go to the city.
No, that's not my question. The total budget number. What were you collecting as a portion of traffic fines pre-COVID, when traffic patrol was more present, at least from an obvious standpoint, than it has been since?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
It's very minimal. Yes.
Thanks for being here, Chief. Switching gears to the homeless situation, we're kind of waiting on this Grants Pass decision with the
Yes.
Supreme Court. For those that don't know, it's going to basically change the game plan here on what the police can and can't do with the homeless. What is your plan of attack should the Supreme Court side with Grants Pass and you're now allowed to aggressively approach the homeless? Have you guys already started thinking ahead and out of the box?
We have, and I wouldn't say aggressively, but I said we can remove them now. They can't just stay wherever they want. We try to encourage people anyway to say, hey, if there has to be a bed available for them, as you know, in certain areas. But if they're if they're on private property, we can do that, right? But it's the sidewalks and neighborhoods that we have a tough time removing them if we don't have bed space available. But we are actively waiting for that decision to come through the Supreme Court, and we do have a plan of action, and that's just going to be adding more manpower that we've already put in. One thing with our public safety engagement team, and we've also the city's created a whole different division, human housing division, that primarily focuses on homelessness. At the beginning, the police department was saddled with all these. And I remember people tell, hey, the homelessness is not a police problem. Why are you guys doing that? And I agree, it's not always a police problem, but if it takes up 50% of one of my officers' time every day, then it becomes our problem. So we've been able to add resources, and in the last year and a half, our public safety engagement team, our Office of Homeless Solutions, which is now Human and Housing, we got up to almost 42 employees, full-time positions, that work throughout the whole city, and we could probably double that and still stay busy. So adding resources to it, they're not going away. We also now have 7-day-a-week coverage, which we didn't have before. We had it Tuesday through Friday, or Wednesday through Saturday. So now we have 7-day-a-week coverage, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., including clinicians, mobile crisis teams that we can also call for assistance. So
I think our PD is doing a great job. Thank you.
thank you, sir.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Hi, Chief. Thanks for your time. Hi, everyone. So I'm new to the neighborhood. I just moved in. I literally live across the street, right around Canyon Crest. And going back to the traffic situation, so I live right outside of the stop sign outside my house, and it's just crazy. Like even here on Canyon Crest, like people just drive like that's out of hell. Crossing through like from Chicago, Canyon Crest, or whatever it might be. But there's a lot of kids that ride their bikes down here. I have my own kids, and that's a major concern for me. And you did say that you guys work off of worksheets, something like that you mentioned. So, to get some enforcement out here, like what would be like the steps for me to take, like to try to get someone out here?
Right after this meeting, top lieutenant right behind you is waving her hand, and that will generate a worksheet. And I do tell us to other groups too, be careful what you wish for sometimes. They will send motors in. Like I said, we're working different parts of the city. 350,000 people in the city. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying when our staffing levels get up, even if we tripled our motor size, we're not going to be able to get every stop sign violator. But when it's a problem like you're talking about, sir, especially with children, Canyon Crest Country Club, all these other areas, let us know, and we can put together a worksheet for these guys to get out there.
Spike strips.
Not a magic.
Yes, sir.
I live down here at the corner, with the corner Canyon Crest and Central, and I'll just add what they were saying. It's not just the stop signs and stoplights. What people do is they come down and it's blind coming down from past the fire department, and what they do is when the lights turn red, they literally honk their horns like I'm coming through. Okay? And a lot of this stuff is happening like 2 or 3 in the morning. Plus that, they're dragging through there. If the brakes are, they're racing each other. And I've seen the results of that because I was up here one time, and this was back about 12 years ago. They had a wreck. That car literally looked like it was put in a 55-gallon barrel and they shook all the parts out. That would have been a good hostess deal. My point is, Hangar 24 at Canyon Crest Town Center, they sent out, quote, I'm going to say condition, yeah, they want to mention, comments on should we let them have alcohol. Okay, Hangar 24 is like a teenage hangout as far as I know.
Isn't that their business, alcohol?
Yeah.
I didn't. I was surprised they said that.
Now, Romano's was there, that the state kind of filled, but it was already bad. If they put nothing but alcohol in there for the kids that are going to be there for maybe 1 to 2 in the morning, they're going to be coming out of there, racing in the whole bit, and Canyon Crest Town Center is going to need more safety there, and also they're going to need more presence of the policemen on the, on the streets.
I agree.
It's terrible. And about the kids, I think it was you mentioned, coming down from, where the fire department is approaching Canyon Crest. If there's, they ask for comments, okay? So I called, there's a lady named Jennifer, okay? 3 times she never called back. And I wrote a letter, and it was a good letter. I presented to him what I kind of presented to you. And I addressed it to the exact address I have on there. And I got the address, the thing back, return to sender. It's not sendable. I sent her out with the address again, and all of the address that I put on there was totally what they had on there. They never got back to me at all. And they're having their meeting, I believe, tonight. So it's a matter of just being frustrated and fed up. And I appreciate, you policemen, what you do. I really do. I'm not disrespecting I'm not saying, we need more, how come not? But yeah, it's a big situation.
I understand, and we take no offense to that. Like I said, me and the deputy chief and Ryan, Randy, we all live in the city. We see it, and we care. We care. It's just a matter of getting the resources deployed the right way, and always being at meetings like this where we hear these concerns.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
You can always do like you did at Killarney's.
Yeah. Well, if a business, just on that note, if a business starts getting out of control, our officers, if there is multiple DUIs or speeders and stuff like that, what they will do is they'll document, they will ask them, where are you coming from? And then make sure that's documented in a police report. So if we have to do any type of civil action to a business, we can use all those reports to possibly close them down. We did that on the east side. You talk about Killarney's, and there was Limericks, and a couple other ones in the University Lodge area, or University in Iowa area, that we will start, we've done action like that too. We're doing it right now in the West End with motels. We arrest people for dope. Where are you staying? Oh, the day's in, again? Another thing. So we start working up, because, like I said, I told you the woes about criminal activity, but civil is also something we look into. We try to work on with our city attorneys to say, hey, this place is a problem that needs to be closed down.
Well, with like a bar that you've got problems with, you can say you either start enforcing over serving
Correct.
bartenders, or we will enforce it against you.
Correct. And we make that very clear.
And you bring the hammer down.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Chief will be around for a few minutes. We got one other presentation from Jay Dyer. He's one of our board members, and he's got something related to police activity and security, a few little video vignettes that I think will be interesting to everyone. So we'll cue those up.
You'll have to excuse me, people. Something went down the wrong road. Something went down the wrong pipe. So if I sound a little raspy, I apologize. Some of you know that I'm a board member here, but most of you don't know is that I have owned an alarm company here in California since 1978. I retired from my company in 2020 at the start of COVID. I have been so exasperated by the increase in crime that I sought out a technology that I know will put an end to most of it. As you know, over the last few years, the increase in smash and grabs, burglaries, in-store robberies, home invasions have increased to the point of ridiculousness. And most of the time, we have video footage of the event happening. We see it, but the thieves are in and out so quickly that there's nothing the police can do, because by the time they get there, thieves are long gone. So I investigated and I found a technology that has been in existence for the last 20 years. I've known about it, but it's been in Europe, it's been in 80 other countries, but not here in the United States. So I sought out the manufacturer, and I became one of the first people in the United States to try and bring this technology to America. This is not a sales presentation. I am doing a PSA. I'm notifying you, the public, that this technology exists so that you can start asking your alarm companies, your safe companies, for this technology to help protect you. You can go ahead and start it now. I asked myself, what do all of these things have in common? All of these crimes, the one thing that they have in common is sight. The bad guys have to see what they're doing in order to do it. And as you can see on this particular video, there were two guys, and from now on, look at the screens, don't look at me.
It's not showing.
It's not showing.
You see the bad guy, he's sitting right there.
While they're working on that, I'm just going to say this. The one thing that all of these things have in common is sight. The bad guys have to see what they're doing in order to do it. If somebody's going to rob you, they have to see you in order to rob you. If they're going to break into your place, they have to see what's inside your place before they even know where to go to get it. So as soon, there, we've got something now. These are two guys. This product, by the way, is known by different things across the world. So some of the video that you're seeing comes from Europe, comes from other countries. These are two guys that had broken into an office, and they were trying to steal the safe. And as you could see, as soon as the fog showed up, they left. This is the same event from another angle, and you'll see pretty much the same thing. Now, I'm going to let you guys watch this video. It's different instances where this fog has actually put an end to the crime immediately. There are situations where if someone comes in and starts smashing your cabinets, starts smashing and trying to grab your jewelry, this device can be set to go off at the first glass break, immediately putting an end to the situation. This is another incident where you can see all the computers along the wall, people break in. As soon as our device starts to deploy, what do? They turn around and they leave. Now, in the last 15, 20 years, I have not heard of one single situation where people who had this device installed has suffered any loss. There's nothing that anyone can do to stop somebody from trying to break into your place. There are a rash of burglaries around the country where people are stealing cars, taking those cars, running them into the side of a building, creating their own door, going in, stealing, and running out, hopping into another car and leaving. This one is a robbery. As you can see, there were 4 of them. If you look at the monitor up at the top, what do? They stop robbing and they run out the door. That's how effective this is. So once again, I'm here to ask you to start calling your alarm companies, start asking for this product. They do not know about it yet. They don't want to know about it because nobody's asking for it. So it's a chicken and egg situation. If the people aren't asking for it, the alarm companies aren't interested in it. So I'm trying to let you know it exists, and you can pretty much take it from here. Now, we also have tools that I'm hoping to be presenting to the police department over a period of time that will enhance their ability to actually apprehend a criminal. Also to put an end to hostage situations, to put an end to active shooters. So I don't really have very much more to say. I'm going to relinquish the mic, and if you can continue watching the video, it's only a couple more minutes long. Okay. And I will answer any questions you have while this is playing.
What's deployed? What is is it non-toxic? Can we just kill them with gas? Like, what's happening?
You got customers.
No, we cannot put sarin gas into these canisters. As I said in the beginning, the question is, how do you put an end to something without causing physical harm to someone? What our product does is it actually blinds the perpetrator. It's a dry fog that's created. It's nothing but glycol and water. It's a food-grade glycol. And it will fill a room, and when it dissipates, which takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to dissipate, it leaves 0 residue. There's nothing to clean up. So any place that this is deployed will be unusable for a certain amount of time because nobody will be able to see anything.
Like 30 minutes is not a big deal.
Well, the thing is, since most of the burglaries are and smash and grabs, they're in and out within a few seconds. Not a few seconds, within a few minutes before the police have a chance to get to the location. This device will put an end to that activity within 3 to 5 seconds. As soon as they see it, they turn around, stop what they're doing, and then turn around and leave.
What starts it? You said breaking glass. What started?
There are a number of things that we can use to initiate it. It can be tied to your alarm system, so that when your alarm system goes off, it deploys. We can have motion detectors, glass break detectors attached to it, so that they will set it off. You can have a panic button that will allow you, in the case of a robbery or a home invasion, you can set it off. There's also a cloud app that will allow you to set it off from any place in the world. You can monitor the system and see, if you have a camera system that lets you see what's going on in your location, you see somebody doing something they're not supposed to, you can set the unit off remotely. Outside, yes. Oh, this one I love. This one I call, but they work so hard. Okay? Whoever installed the door and the glass on this place, they spent a fortune on protecting. Look at this guy. He's got a sledgehammer. You're going to see a guy with a pickaxe and a crowbar. Now just watch how long these people are working to get into this store. Now here's the important part. Just the act of them hitting the glass and breaking the glass triggered our unit inside the store. And as you watch them beat and kick, eventually you'll see some smoke coming out on the inside. What I'd like you to do, what I'd like you to notice, is once they actually get in, notice how long they stay in. That's the important part. The business owner will have to replace the glass, but he lost no merchandise whatsoever.
The insurance company would much rather pay for ballistic glass than hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewels or whatever.
I have a question for you regarding the
And the other thing is, insurance companies will actually lower your insurance if this is installed.
Okay, they got in.
I have a question for you. In our litigious society, many times the perpetrators of whatever activity have harm from whatever we're doing to prevent them from carrying out their act. So does this company have a whole harmless clause? Because you may get someone who he might be a bad person, but he may have asthma or some other respiratory problem. And this material, in our litigious society, they will be interested in saying, what can I do to make this even better? Because in my activity as a criminal, I didn't anticipate the fall or whatever. So the question is, does the company that produced this have a whole harmless clause that people who use it in their establishment, etc., can feel comfortable with regards to how they are somewhat protected if something should happen to the bad guy?
The answer to your question is yes. And that's, you really shouldn't have asked that. The answer to the question is yes. There is a clause when we sell it, in our contract, it says basically no one can sue anybody over anything that happens here. And you have to let us know immediately if anyone attempts to sue you because of our equipment. Now, having said that, there are people in this world that are allergic to air. I would rather take a chance on being sued by the bad guy who's allergic to this stuff, which nobody is, this is food-grade glycol water, than to risk my family's safety by not putting it in because I might get sued by a bad guy. But that's me. And I also have another thing where I think that people should get organized to try and bring back sensibilities to law enforcement. Not what the police do, but limiting the lawyers.
Is it penetrable by any light source, and would night vision capabilities allow sight?
There is no light source that can penetrate this, no. There is no night vision source that can penetrate this. There is, however, another technology which the police department and the fire department have access to that will allow them to see right through it as though it's not there. Okay. So they're telling me to wrap it up. So if any of you would like information that you can pass on to the alarm companies, I have brochures that will give you information on it. So please ask your alarm companies for it. Thank you much.
Before we break, for those of you that want to go, we're having a tour tomorrow morning of what the
Vertex Trash Center, the
we're gonna survey the trash.
for 2 people at 8:30 tomorrow.
It's going to be very exciting. We got openings for 2 people. There's a small admission fee, but it's not bad. So if anybody wants to go, you can. Chief got one more message for everybody.
Well, if you guys aren't going to go, we'll be here. Lieutenant Merrill's back there. Please, I thought she left, but I see her sitting back there. The real boss of our department is LaShawn Haley, which you guys already know. But she could also talk to her about other issues in the neighborhood too. So make sure you guys.
Right.
Okay.
everybody's welcome to stay if they want.
Anyone's welcome to stay, talk to the chief and the staff, or else head over to the March JPA. It's straight up Alessandra to the Moreno Valley Convention Center at Frederick, and that's where they're having that meeting. Have you talked to anyone that's over there? Has anyone talked to anyone to see how many people are there? Okay, so anyone needs to go there, take off. If not, you can stay and talk to the chief and to Jay. Thanks very much.